taking over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible. Hanging out the bad seed, the broken, the bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake-it-up, Shadooby, along with the Prime Minister, Cam Stewart, live in Toronto today, in for Carver High. Not only today, but the luxury of having him tomorrow as well is something that the civilians and citizenry can actually have something to look forward to now in life with Prime in the hizzy. Mafia is running it along with Luke Amilpada. The rundown on a Thirsty Thursday, a double shot with Morency from British Columbia this very hour. At the second hour, top of the hour to you, Mr. Denny Bernstein, a.k.a. Elvis from the fourth period and NHL radio on Sirius XM. At the top of the third and final hour, the coup de grace, my good friend Steigs, Paul Steigerwald, the legendary color man with Mike Lange in Pittsburgh for, you name it, 15 years together doing the TV. Then he did radio for another 10 years, over 25 years of calling Penguin games, and he knows all about my relationship and my porous behavior with my hero, Mike Lange, who died yesterday after a long illness at the age of 76. I'll be talking about it with these people and get more into it, but I'll say this to you at the jump today. This was a guy that I looked up to like no other. This man was the coolest dude I ever met in my life. He was the greatest hockey play-by-play entertainer in the history of the league, bar none. There have been all kinds of legendary broadcasters. There have been all kinds of Hall of Famers, but none of them had the shtick of Mike Lange. Not one of them. Not one of them can hold a candle to what that guy did calling a hockey game. It was sex. It was just the greatest thing you ever heard in your life. And his post-game show was just automatic, all ears on deck. You listened every night. You went to bed with it. You drove home with it. I never missed a game my entire childhood. I went to every Penguin game my whole life. I wanted to be Mike Lange. Mike Lange taught me how to do play-by-play. Mike Lange was the one that pushed me to the Thrashers play-by-play job. Mike Lange was the one that told me to be me. Be crazy. That's who you are. Go be you. Be crazy. Never miss a goal. Never miss a game. Never take your eye off the puck. He taught me how to call from one end to the other through the neutral zone. The point, the high slot, the low slot, the crease, beneath the goal line. Everything about the game he taught me. And he taught me all of it while pounding vodka. We drank and shoveled liquor into our throats as friends, after hours, after hour clubs. Every time I saw him, we got together and ate and drank. And large quantities of alcohol. We smoked 5 million cigarettes. I smoked 5 million spleefs. He didn't, but he was the greatest human being I ever knew. He was the nicest man I ever knew. He was the coolest guy I ever knew. He would do anything for anyone. Every time I went to a Devils or Ranger game, because I would never go to an Islander game, those communists out on that European island they live on. I only go to Ranger and Devil games at the Rock or at the Garden. I would always go for one reason, not the game, but to see Mike Lange. Ask Steigerwald today. Every time they were in town in New York, I went to see him and visit him. I loved Mike Lange. I cannot believe he has been taken from us. I want to die with him today. I mean it. I am miserable that he is gone. It kills me that Mike Lange has passed away. He was the salt of the earth. He was a titan, a maverick. He was God to me. I have never in my life heard anyone better. When the Penguins won Game 7 at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, no one wins Game 7 at Joe Louis Arena, and they beat the Red Wings in Detroit. He said, spit, shine your shoes. We're going dancing with Lord Stanley. I got to enjoy 5 Stanley Cups, and he was on the call of every one of them. No one can touch him in broadcasting. Even my other heroes, Howard Cosell, Harry Carey. It doesn't matter who you put him up against, they lose. Mike Lange was truly one of a kind. You have to talk now, Cam, so I don't have a stroke. I'm about to start pouring sweat out of my body.
It was beautiful, and I let you finish. And I'll tell you, I had the pleasure only one time meeting Mike Lange, but he used to be a regular on our morning show when I did the morning show at the Hockey on XM. This guy was amazing, class act. And you talk about it, Scotty, and for me, in the entertainment world, broadcasting entertainment, there were 2 guys. There was Rick Jenneret and Mike Lange, and then there was everybody else. That's the way I look at it, and that's the way, and you're absolutely right. This guy's enthusiasm, brains, knowledge, jokes, everything. Like, you talk about a 5-tool player, he had more than 5 tools. This guy was amazing. And you know what? You call the guy at 6 o'clock in the morning, you pick up the phone in any type of situation. You talk about it. A lot of guys, they blow you off. Nah, I'm busy today, whatever. I'll tell you, working at that station, we got to talk to Mike Lange and Rick Jenneret. Those are the 2 times that I smiled, and I remember I went back to my mom when she was alive. That's why I got in the business, because these are entertainers. They're not just broadcasters. There's guys that bring it to a new level. They're not just blah, 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 calling the game. They are making you laugh, making you feel emotion, and they bring the game out. So Mike Lange, in my opinion, you couldn't have said any better. God, legend. There will be nobody like Mike Lange. He was so original. His lines, I'm just like, wow, where did this guy come up with this stuff? He was a professional comedian on top of being one of the best broadcasters of all time. And Scott, very fortunate that you had a relationship with him. I've only talked to him a couple of times, but I'll tell you, when I did, I go, that's a legend in our midst. That guy, God rest his soul, because he was one of the best of the.
He was. Now listen, and I know I have a Rick Jenneret puck in here signed to me. He was another guy that I admired greatly. Brilliance. There's only one word, brilliance, as a play-by-play guy. I thought Jenneret called a game like no other, and I thought he took it very seriously. He was a very serious play-by-play guy with a great personality. Mike was different in that he was he was funny. He was a storyteller. He had all these slick lines. Call, Arthur Slick from Turtle Creek and scratch my back with a hacksaw. Michael motorcycle. Buy Sam a drink and get his dog one too. He beat him like a rented mule. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Lord Stanley, give me the brandy. I mean, he was something else. And they don't make him like that anymore. I went on the air today in Pittsburgh, and I said, I was very mean. I just said that ever since he stopped calling games, everyone else they put in there sucks monkey onions. I go, it gets worse by the guy they put in there. I go, no offense, but I mean all offense when I say it. That's how bad they are. They are such cookie cutter wussies, and they're not entertaining. They're not good. They're boring. They're straightforward. They just call the game so boring. I want to stick a knife in my eyeball, and I can't take it. I told Lemieux to his face when I saw him, I said, Mario, bring me back. At least I have balls.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
So I was talking to Paul Steigerwald today to get him to come on the show today about Mike Lange, and I was reminiscing with him, and I've been intertwined with Mike and Paul in my career. When Paul left CBS Radio and KQV in Pittsburgh, he took the color job with Mike Lange and the Penguins. He left to go work for the Pittsburgh Penguins and become the color analyst. And I got his job. I was 23 years old, and I've known John and his brother. He's been on the show, and Paul, and I know John's daughter, and I know everybody. And Mike and I were dear friends, and he knew that I was a really bad influence on Mike. I used to go out with him to a place called the Living Room in Pittsburgh after hours. And I mean, I am not even kidding you. I have never drank more booze in my life than I did with this guy. And we would talk, he would sit there and tell hockey stories until you were blue in the face and go pound for pound with you drinking cocktails. I mean, this guy was the champion, play-by-play guy, champion partier, champion smoker. He had it all going. I mean, this dude was more fun than any human being I've ever met in my life. And the stories I can tell you are just endless. It's just, this guy was God to me, and to lose him was devastating last night. It literally has destroyed my life that he's gone. And I know that Gabe, of course, you get Sports Rage every night at 10 along all of our outlets, but you get Morency on here every day. Thank God for that. Twice, a double shot from Vancouver. Obviously, Cam told me that you guys used to have him on the Sirius show in Canada, and he would come on there and talk hockey with you. I knew him on another level, like a personal friendship level. And you have no idea how much I looked up to him and how great I thought he was. I listened to hours of his play-by-play calls last night and this morning, and I was bawling. I was gushing tears, and I was blowing my nose, and I was a mess because the memories, the 5 Stanley Cups, the lean years when they sucked and he was doing all his shtick and they were horrible and had no players. And then when they got Lemieux forward and had Lemieux and Yager and all the Stanley Cup runs and Crosby, it really is a huge loss, I think, for hockey.
Yeah, it's too bad. Condolences to his family. I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago, actually, when I was tuning in to a game. And modern broadcasters are so bland. I'm going to say bland. They don't have personalities, right? No one really has a personality anymore during broadcasts. You have a few old school baseball guys left. There's a few hockey, and now we have one less. That's, when I look at that, I'm like, he'll just end up getting replaced by some clone type that, they want to bring in yes man. They want to bring in just, people are going to keep it straight, keep it with the game.
Cookie cutter.
They just don't have a personality, like represents the city, represents the team. Might not be perfect off the ice, right? But, and listen, you know what a good example is, bro? Joe Davis, the guy. He's like the new Joe Buck. Joe Davis. Like, he gets big NFL assignments now. He's the Dodgers guy. He replaced Vin Scully. All right?
So boring, dude.
Dude, exactly, bro. Like, you see this guy, and he's like, welcome to Chavez Ravine. It's like, at Syracuse University, Scott, or something, the professor would be like, he has a perfect voice. Look at his face.
Yeah.
He's made to be a broadcaster.
That's what they teach up there. They teach people how to be boring and be like everybody else.
And not one fan ever says, man, I'd like to go have a beer with Joe Davis after a Dodger game. Right? No one ever thinks that. Thinks, man, I'd like to meet that guy and really, sit down, like you said.
You wanted to have sex with Vin Scully.
Yeah, sit down and, man, imagine, sitting down for dinner. Like, you just look, dude, I had the opportunity, Scott, Harry Callis with the Philadelphia Phillies, NFL film, same thing. He walked into the room and was like, whoa, that's freaking Harry Callis, man. Nicest guy. Sat down. I asked him, man, can you do the voice from NFL
Jack
Films?
Schmidt with his 500.
I said, can you do the Frozen Thunder a bit you did on NFL Films? He goes, give me a second here. He has a little sip of beer. And the Frozen Thunder, he went into it. It was like, wow, just like larger than life. Like you said, like these broadcasters, they've been around for the good days, the bad days, the early days of the team, seen the ups and the downs. Now it's just boring. And they just replace. Like I said, I've been talking about this. And there's big-time jobs and stuff. Look at the Yankees, bro. You know what I mean? Like, they just roll anybody in now on a daily basis with their broadcast. Like,
I think they got it right with Dave Sims. I think he'll save the Yankees play-by-play booth. He's a guy that everybody in New York likes and loves and respects. And I thought Sterling, he's certainly a character, but I thought he was senile at the end.
But just remember, it was just sort of Ken Singleton. You had guys.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
He was morphine.
You had guys that knew the game, that were the game, that were part of the fabric of it. Like, I grew up with the Expos. You know the color analyst with the Expos was, Scott, when I grew up? Duke Snyder. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine?
So I'm growing up listening to Duke Snyder talk about baseball, right? Played for the Montreal Royals, right? He had a connection to Montreal. So it was like I grew up listening to Duke Snyder. Then it was Ken Singleton.
They had Phil Rizzuto here.
Yeah, it's like now, all right, welcome to Joe Davis. And you know what I mean? And,
bro, it's so off. So I went on today.
I
went on today in Pittsburgh, and I said it right on the air. I said, ever since he stopped calling games, they have one after the next failed to put anyone in there that doesn't suck balls. I mean, they are so awful that I said, I don't tell them I said so, and I'll see you in the alley. I said, you all suck. You're all boring. You're all vanilla. You're all milquetoast. And it's just torture listening to you call Penguin games. I told Mario to his face. I said, I'm old, but at least I'm crazy. Bring me back. I'll call it a game for nothing. I go, you know what I do in the NHL. I was so crazy calling games. In 1 year, they sent me to hell. They fired me. They cut my arms and legs off and put me in the trash barrel and set it on fire because I was so crazy in the booth.
You already were. You did
fun.
do Atlanta Thrasher games.
Hey, you had to be drunk to watch that crappy team. They were so crappy, they were gone in 10 years, and they were broke. When we come back, Morency and I are going to have at it. Canada against the USA. The battle for the world tonight.
I talked about AZ Fudd a lot, folks, and said when she got back from that knee injury, remember, it's the second ACL tear she's had in her career, that she was going to be a difference maker. UConn is plus 330. They're not going to get challenged again in the Big East until they come out of conference play in the conference tournament. I still like them at plus 330 to win a national championship.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
You watch playoff games. The playoffs are all that matter. The league's got an issue. They just don't want to admit it. They brag about how huge they are, how global they are. Ratings are through the roof. Profits are through the roof. I mean, between the NBA and NHL lying about their ratings and the money they make, I'm sick and tired of it.
Ferrall, coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
So, Morency just told me in the break that he hated me and anyone that I know that was American. He said it's only going to last for the next 12 hours, but he literally said he hated me and all Americans that know me. And
That's not fully true.
He said it, and he also said he wished death on the U.S. hockey team tonight, that they die at the stake and that they are burned at the stake in effigy, and that the Canadian team will trounce them tonight in Boston, and that they will take all of our wives and turn them into their lovers.
I didn't quite say that. My exact words to Scott were, the game is still a pick'em. Just for the record, that's what my exact words were. But
no,
I do. A lot of things you said are kind of true in there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it, but a lot of things are true.
I told you he said it.
All kidding aside, though, I've been saying, is I'll be glad when this is over to a certain extent. I think it was more than people bargained for, even the players. I mean, this was just supposed to be a hockey tournament, and it's turned into something else. The stakes could not be higher. Who's going to handle the pressure tonight is going to be a big-time key. I mean, you're talking about this game, guys, and just for the record, too, Scott, I've been a big World Baseball Classic guy, all right? Like, so much so that I flew around to go see it last time, right? I mean, I went to Arizona to see the games, and I've been to the one in Toronto before. I've been in Arizona, so I've been to 2 World Baseball Classics, and right. I've loved it since day one. And it's the same thing. Like, people are sort of catching on now. Oh, this hockey, this is the greatest thing ever, better than everything any sport's ever done before, blah, blah. So, baseball is the same thing. Like, when Trey Turner hit the home run, he won a game for USA, and he sent them to the final. And he hit a home run in the World Series, and he said after, he goes, that was the biggest home run I ever hit in my life. They said, you hit a game-winning home run in the World Series, right? He said, this was the biggest home run I ever hit in my life. Like, he was talking about the USA game. Dude, Jack Eichel on the U.S., Scott. He didn't win the game. He played in the NCAA National Championship for Boston University. He won a Stanley Cup with the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Right.
What did he say this week? By far the biggest game I've ever played in this Thursday. Never played in a game this big. It's bigger than the Stanley Cup right now. And I'm not saying, 2 weeks from now their eyes are going to be back on the Stanley Cup prize. But right now, this is it. This is as big as it gets. You have the biggest players in the game saying it's the biggest game of their lives. You can't top it, right? So from an emotional standpoint, it's going to be super draining. It's going to be tough for the losing players to get adapted to the NHL.
I can't take it.
Yeah, big drama, Scott. And listen, it would just be hockey, but once again, I saw a Trump spokesperson this morning. We look forward to beating our future 51st state. That's the type of crap that just elevates the anger and sort of the tension. It should just be about hockey, but whatever. Others want to make it about something else. Okay, so it is what it is. It's go time tonight, Scott. No excuses. It's ready to rock, ready to dance. Let's see who's the best.
Yeah, he said he was also a king yesterday, and he needs to have a sandwich. He needs to stay away from the hockey game. The worst thing that could happen in the world is that guy showing up at that hockey game tonight at the Garden. It's going to be incredible. It's just going to be insane. Like, I can barely take it waiting for it. It's been,
I know.
The days, it's been worse than the Super Bowl wait, and I hate the Chiefs. But, that 2 weeks is awful. This has been worse for me. They should have played the game Wednesday. We should have already played the game. I think the one thing that's driven me crazy is how here and there, it doesn't matter, in Canada or anywhere else. People say that the U.S. can't beat this team twice in a row. It's just not going to happen. It's impossible. They're too good. They can't be beaten. They won't lose. Canada's going to win. It's automatic. I just don't know where that comes from. I don't think that they beat their ass in game one. I think they got by them. And I think they're going to have to find a way again to beat them. I think it's good. I thought Canada would win on Saturday. And I think Canada can very much win this game tonight. And I still say, screw them. I want USA to win, but I think Canada's very dangerous.
Well, everybody wants to be the underdog in this game, right? John Cooper keeps going back to this, the head coach of Team Canada, who's actually a dual citizen for the records. It's a weird spot that he's in. He's a dual citizen. But
he's not American.
He's been talking about it. He keeps going back to, we're the underdog in this game, and no one believes in us.
So you got Canada. You got Canada and the over/under.
3-0 Canada.
I talked about AZ Fudd a lot, folks, and said when she got back from that knee injury, remember, it's the second ACL tear she's had in her career, that she was going to be a difference maker. UConn is plus 330. They're not going to get challenged again in the Big East until they come out of conference play in a conference tournament. I still like them at plus 330 to win a national championship.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You watch playoff games. The playoffs are all that matter. The league's got an issue. They just don't want to admit it. They brag about how huge they are, how global they are. Ratings are through the roof. Profits are through the roof. I mean, between the NBA and NHL lying about their ratings and the money they make, I'm sick and tired of it.
Ferrall, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
So we're back with the Prime Minister, Cam Stewart, live in Toronto, in for Carver High today and tomorrow on C2C. Things we're going to be talking about on the show, obviously, Bobby Portis fails a drug test. He's suspended 25 games. The Hornets beat the Lakers last night at the Crypt in Lipstick City. The NBA back in full swing tonight. And let's turn to college basketball from last night. Missouri got it done in Columbia. They beat Alabama, so number 15 over number 4, 110-98. At the Tigers Coliseum. And Missouri had 59 points in the first half. They had a 13-point lead. They shot 60% from the floor for the game. Mark Mitchell had 31. Caleb Grill had 25 and 10 boards, 3 steals off for the bench. Here's Grill hitting a step-back 3-dagger to put Missouri up 15 with 4 minutes left on the SEC Network.
Grill bails him out. He checks the timer. 7 to shoot. Caleb Grill, step back 3, puts it in! What a pure stroke. Wow.
We hit this game last night on Coast to Coast. Cam, what did you think of Missouri getting it done on their home floor? I don't think it was that shocking to me. And Alabama had lost to Auburn and Tuscaloosa over the weekend and went back-to-back losses.
Great call, Scott. I'm going to tell you, I got futures on Missouri. And is anybody talking about these guys? Are they better than a 15 seed? You're damn right they are. Look what they do to people. They smoke Alabama. They beat Oklahoma by 24. They literally they lost at Tennessee by 4. They're a very, very good basketball team. These guys, Scott, I don't know how you feel about this, but this team to me has Elite 8 potential, maybe even Final 4 potential if things fall right. I think Missouri Tigers are a very, very good basketball team. They're peaking at the right time. And I was on them last night with you. I wish I bet more money on them.
Listen, I think they're a good team. They're definitely solid. They're tough. They can play with anybody. I think that they're a lot better in Columbia than they are on the road. Sure. And we'll see how they react to a neutral court in the NCAA tournament or in the conference tournament. So we'll see how that plays out. But they definitely got it done. Here's their coach, Dennis Gates, on why he picked up the mic in the later stages of that game to tell the fans not to rush the court.
We need that money to go to NIL. We don't need to be getting fines out there, but the safety. And I hope that becomes a normal thing. And when you are excited, which I credit our crowd for being, I just didn't want us to rush the court and get a fine. That's kind of how I see it. Ultimately, they showed up, and I thank our crowd. I wasn't trying to take any fun away from them, but I hope they're ready for next week as well. I kind of want them to keep that energy up and obviously continue to do the things that they do to impact the game.
Well, that's soft, but let's just say this, that, I did it when I was at Indiana. They did it many times for big games. Where they would knock off a number 1 or a number 2 in Assembly Hall. I've seen it before, the Storm Court. I saw it, a few years ago, and people will never forget when they beat Kentucky when they were number 1 at Assembly Hall, and they went crazy on the floor. But here's the deal. Like, at some level, the storming the field and the court is, to me, it's kind of, can't we just go to the bar and hammer shots and drink beers?
Yes.
Can we just all meet after the game at the bar?
Exactly. You were a 1-point favorite. You were not a 20-point dog. You rushed the floor when you do something outrageous and crazy, Scott. Amen, brother. 2 Jager bombs for me and Ferrall. Let's rock.
Simple as that. So, number 1 Auburn held off Arkansas. We had the Hogs last night with the points, and they covered. It was at the Neville. Auburn's bench outscored the Hogs bench 33-8. Broom had 16, 13 boards, the double-double. Baker Mazzara had 15. Chaney Johnson, 14. Auburn won despite shooting 17% from downtown. Here's Bruce Pearl after the game.
Our offense left a lot to be desired tonight. Our execution wasn't very good. I don't think our shot selection was great. When you only have 11 assists and 12 turnovers, I don't think we shared it as well as we have been. And but our guys competed. They did not let the fact that we weren't making shots and playing well offensively, affect their defense. Holding Arkansas to 60 points is significant. At the same time, I'm sure John probably they had a bunch of good looks. They had some open shots that if they go down, it's a different outcome. So.
Yeah, listen, it's simple. If you're going to shoot 17% from the arc in the NCAA tournament, you're going down. You're going to lose. You can't expect to hold every team to 60 points. There's no denying Auburn is legit number one. There's no denying they're tough to beat. There's no denying they're great defensively. But if you have a horrible shooting night, that is exactly how you lose in the NCAA tournament when you can't put the ball in the hole. Here's Calipari talking about the conference.
When I first got in the league, there were 3 teams getting in the tournament. In those first 4 or 5 years, I was begging for 7, 8 teams, and I was full of crap. But I was saying, we deserve this, we don't. Now you're talking about this league deserving 12. Well, you can't do that. Well, don't build all these big leagues then for the money. Don't do that, because now you got a bunch of us in one league, and it may not be us, it may be us. But this league, I haven't seen one like this, especially because there's 16. Now, I can remember back the Big East or the ACC, but they didn't have as many teams.
Yeah, he's right. I think he's right about everything.
Agree.
I still think, and they keep losing games. Arkansas keeps losing. So anyway you slice it, a loss is a loss. I know they're against great teams. Cry me a river. You're in the conference, and you wanted the job. You took the job. You went to Fayetteville. You left Lexington. You left Rupp. You left those animal fans in Kentucky, and now you're down in Fayetteville, and you're losing. So, I mean, they're going from every day they lose, they're going like to be a higher seed. They're going to be, it's just getting worse to the point where if they keep losing, they're going to have to do something dramatic in the conference tournament just to get into the NCAA tournament. At some point, you can't just lose every game and get into the NCAA tournament because you're in a great conference. If you don't win the games, you don't deserve to go. Like Indiana, they don't win. They don't deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. They're in the Big Ten. They lose all the games. If you lose all the games, you don't deserve to be in the tournament. Number 17, Kentucky rolled over Vandy 82-61 at Rupp. They were up 1 1/2, then outscored them 20 after the break. Oweh had 20. Williams had 17. And they get a big win at Rupp. And remember, they had lost to them in Nashville, so they got even with them. St. John's, meanwhile, went to Chicago and kicked DePaul's ass and covered. They had 41 in each half. They led by 16 at the break. 14 Big East wins, the St. John's highest total in 26 years. Pitino's really got a great team, and they can't shoot from outside either. Smith had 18. Richmond had 17. And since 2012, only 2 teams have made the Final Four while shooting 33% or worse from 3. It was 2012 and 2013. They were Louisville teams. Under who? Under Rick Pitino. St. John's this year, 29% from 3. And he also said they're looking for transfers. No high school students. No high school players at St. John's. You can't replace these older players and graduate players with high school kids. So they're only looking for transfers and guys that they're going to pay big money to play at St. John's. And I think he's right, Cam.
I agree with you, Scott. Look at St. John's. These guys are on fire. They're a wicked dark horse. And to your point earlier about the SEC, only 1 team is below 500. Can you believe that? 1 damn team in the conference, South Carolina. That's nuts.
We still got a lot more college basketball to talk today on C2C. You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I talked about AZ Fudd a lot, folks, and said when she got back from that knee injury, remember, it's the second ACL tear she's had in her career, that she was going to be a difference maker. UConn is plus 330. They're not going to get challenged again in the Big East until they come out of conference play in a conference tournament. I still like them at plus 330 to win a national championship.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I feel when I look at this Arizona team, I don't take them serious as a national title threat because you're asking Caleb Love to bottle magic that I just don't even think exists.
4.4, 6.6, 7.4, 7.7, 7.8. This guy is literally taking, he'll shoot you out of games, Kevin.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
So, Tim, Arkansas to me 4-9 in SEC play. They got 15 wins. So the bottom line is they've had 2 wins outside of the conference. When you're 4-9 and they're like in 12th in that conference, I am not nice. Okay, like being nice and all this candy ass stuff. I'm not nice. It's simple. I'm willing to sit there and tell you, like in the Big Ten, Indiana's not going. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to play in any of them small-ass jerky tournaments either because they don't play in, like, you know, the underprivileged tournaments. They don't. They play in the NCAAs. They play for national championships. They're not going to go play in some NIT or anything else. The Crown tournament. When you're 4-9 in your conference and you got 15 wins, I'm sorry, you're not going. And right now, everyone has them in the tournament. I've seen them I've seen them in Palm, in DeCourcy's. I've seen them in Lenardi's. Like, I'm not that nice. They should have me on that committee. 4-9 in conference, you're not going.
It's a good call. Georgia's 4-9 too, Scotty. And you know what? Texas playing with fire. They're 5-8 in the conference at 16-10. That's borderline. They'll get there. But Vanderbilt 5-8 in the conference. You said it, man. No, there's no way you can put these guys in. You're 4-9. You're a 15 win team. No, there's too many other teams there. I'm with you. They're a decent basketball team, but you got to take care of your business in conference, and that's a brutal conference record.
All right, SMU destroyed Notre Dame. We hit that game as well, 97-73. We're not buying Shrewsbury and all of his rah-rah, slamming tables, throwing temper tantrums, yelling at the media, blaming fans, saying don't come back when we're winning, all the rest. He still got his ass cooked and served up cold by SMU, and they keep winning games. Oregon pushed. They won at Iowa, though, by a bucket, and that's all that matters. St. Joe's beat GW 79-68 in D.C. It was a 40-32 second half that helped Joe's pull away. Boise beat New Mexico. Did you watch that game? They obliterated them in the second half.
I was on Boise. It was one of those situations, first half, you know, they barely cover the number where they 2.5, they're up 3. And you said it, Scotty. In the second half, the Broncos just slapped them around. Very impressive win. That's the whole thing. You talk about it, home versus road dichotomy. New Mexico at the pit is very, very dangerous, but you take their show on the road, they're not as scary. Great win by Boise State. They murdered them.
Northern Iowa just continues to win. All they do is win big games. They went to Belmont, and they won that game by 7. All they do, don't doubt them. If you want to put your hand on the grill, you're going to get burned. That team will beat you every time. Every time I bet against them, I lose money. Last night, I bet on them, and I won money. Drake crushed Illinois-Chicago. I was surprised at that. I was on Illinois-Chicago. They've been fantastic. They've covered left and right, Cam. They've been in everyone's face. They're having a great season, but they got rocked at Drake.
Great call by you, too, on Northern Iowa, Scott. Like, remember the days when that Northern Iowa team took out Kansas, and those were like good Bill Self teams. That was when Kansas was Kansas. So it's kind of a throwback to Northern Iowa when they were that sleeper team. I'm with you, Scott. Great point you brought up earlier about Notre Dame as well. I fell for that crap, and I got to be smarter than that. That was the only game last night. I had a really good night in college, but I bet on Notre Dame, and you should cut my mic. That was an absolute horrible pick, but I'm with you. A lot of these games, I got to tell you, like, watch out for what do you do with these games, Scotty, when things are so tight right now? Like what sleeper team do you like? Like, I'm trying to think like of a team that we could take. I know it's top heavy, but there's also a lot of teams. You said it. It's a 3-point game now. If your balls aren't going down, a lot of people could beat anybody. Like St. John's, like, who's a sleeper team to you at a good number?
I mean, I think they're one of them. I think Northern Iowa is one of them.
Yes.
They're certainly a team. And then I think Bobby Moe's another team that seems to win games, big games. They keep beating anyone they put in front of them. You're talking about, small schools. They beat Cleveland State. Cleveland State's been great. They've been an exciting team. There's all kinds of teams that I could talk about. Like, look, like tonight, you've got literally, in my view, and you see the same thing every night. It's like there's teams that are legit that are, going for their 20th win. Like some of these teams tonight, I got to show you some of these. Like, seriously. And I was looking at it all day today, looking at it, betting on these games. But there's a great game tonight. Where is this game? They're both, here it is. It's North Alabama and Lipscomb. They're both, the North Bama team has 20 wins. Lipscomb has 19 wins. They're 19-9. Northern Colorado's a 19-win team. And everybody says, they don't play anybody and they play in these small conferences. That's fine and dandy. I'll tell you what. I still think that New Mexico team, even though they lost last night, they like to get up and down. They're a 22-win team. I think San Diego State is still a good team. Obviously, Boise's a good team, but there's a lot of teams. I think UC San Diego's a great sleeper team. They're another team that wins a lot of games. So is Irvine. I think San Francisco is a 21-win team. They play tonight. They've been incredible. Santa Clara is still tough. A lot of, late night West Coast teams are legit. They get no love. Now, Maryland's ranked. I think they're legit. They're a 20-win team, and it goes on and on and on. So some of the other games last night, Furman beat Sanford. Georgetown crushed Providence. We got that right. Gonzaga finally looked good, and I don't think they've looked good at all. 3 losses or whatever this year in conference play. You haven't seen that ever from a few team. I think Utah State Aggies are a great team. They're legit. They blew out San Jose State last night. They put a $105 on them. My team last night put a $101 on this team. We beat them by 31. Ferrall with a 20-burger last night with 10 rebounds. And I'm 59 years old. I hit 9 of 10 shots and had an and one.
Beautiful.
Also, North Carolina finally looked good. VCU's a team that I don't want to mess around with. They're another team that can beat anybody. They beat UMass's ass by 29. Florida State beat Miami. Penn State over Nebraska. I got that wrong. I got Rutgers wrong. They won in overtime at Washington. I said yesterday on Coast to Coast, they both suck, and it's hard to bet on 2 teams that suck as bad as they do. West Virginia pushed, but they beat Cincinnati. Chattanooga's another tough team. I love St. Mary's. They're always good. UAB was a winner by 1 over Rice. North Texas is another team that's tough. Illinois State upset Bradley, and South Bama upset Arkansas State. So there are tons of teams like that can win games against anybody any night. Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I talked about AZ Fudd a lot, folks, and said when she got back from that knee injury, remember, it's the second ACL tear she's had in her career, that she was going to be a difference maker. UConn is plus 330. They're not going to get challenged again in the Big East until they come out of conference play in a conference tournament. I still like them at plus 330 to win a national championship.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I feel when I look at this Arizona team, I don't take them serious as a national title threat because you're asking Caleb Love to bottle magic that I just don't even think exists.
4.4, 6.6, 7.4, 7.7, 7.8. This guy is literally taking, he'll shoot you out of games, Kevin.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
So the Dodgers and Cubs are playing the first baseball game of the spring in the Cactus League, and the Dodgers were up 3-0, and Miller was pitching, and they had guys on base, and a guy hit a line drive off of Miller's forehead. I mean, 100-mile-an-hour rip line drive right off this dude's skull. And, I mean, he had an enormous cherry on his forehead. They took him out of the game. The line drive went off his head and led to a run and made it 3-1. The Cubs got on the board on that line drive. Miller has left the game. He came in for Yamamoto, got drilled in the head, and he's done for the day. And he looked completely out of it after taking that shot off the face.
I'm on the Dodgers. I don't like the sound of that. I hope he's going to be okay. I don't know these guys deal with that after. If that happened to me and some guy almost killed me, think about this, Scotty. That ball goes off your temple, you could die. Like, I don't know how they do that stuff. Like, the whole thing about baseball is you go into a cage, even at 75, like you got crap running down your leg. Like, that's the whole thing. And these guys are doing this stuff. I got a lot of respect for baseball players, man, and pitchers. But go Dodgers. Had to bet the first game of the year, Scotty, the Cactus League. But the way things are going, looks like the Cubs are mounting a comeback.
It is a beautiful day out in Arizona. All right, let's look at the racks of ribs we have for tonight's college basketball games. We start with Northwestern at Ohio State. They're getting 10.5 in Columbus, and USC's at College Park against that 20th ranked Maryland team. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Maryland beats USC's ass. I think USC's struggling, particularly on these East Coast trips and long trips. A big road game here against a really good team, and they got guys that can flat out score on that Terp offense, some of the best in the Big Ten. I think the leading scorer on that team's the leader in the Big Ten. And then Ohio State at home. That number, to me, might be a little juicy. It might be juicy. I'd be interested in Northwestern in 10.5, and I'd be interested in laying the points with the Terps.
You're reading my mail, Scott. Like, we finished strong with Boise State and Rutgers last night in overtime. It's too many points. I think Ohio State will win this game by 4-6. It's going to be a lot closer. Give me a shot with Northwestern getting 10.5. Little sprinkle on the money line, and I'm with you. I think Maryland runs USC out of the gym. Terps, the Fighting Greg Sussmans, the Turtles by 18.
All right, so let's go to rack number 2. We got Asheville and Radford. That's 2.5 Radford at home. Charleston at Northeastern. Northeastern getting 1.5 at home. You've got New Mexico State at Jacksonville State. Now, Jacksonville State is really good, and they're at home. I'm going to lay the 6.5 in that game for sure. I don't know what you think of those other two.
I've no, actually, you know what? I bet only a couple of games so far. I didn't look at this game. I would look at Charleston. I don't like going against home dogs, but it's a very short number. Basically a pick 'em -1.5 there. No opinion on the Radiators, Radford versus UNC Asheville. Haven't looked at that game.
I actually got Charleston at getting 1.5. They're a 20-win team. I like them to win at Northeastern tonight in Boston. And I said it already. Jacksonville State, I'm on. As for that Asheville game, I'm looking for that game right now as we speak, like to see if what I thought of it. And I'm having trouble finding it. So the
Radford?
it's the Asheville Radford game. I just wanted to look at those numbers, and I just can't find them. So I'm gonna give up. All right, let's go to the next rack. If I can't,
What kind of sports shows? Hey, everybody, welcome to SportsGrid. We got opinions on UNC, Asheville, Radford, Charleston, Northeastern, and New Mexico State and Jacksonville State. That's a gambling network, baby.
Yeah, listen, but I would love it if I could find it. Like I've been sitting here looking for it for 20 minutes. I'm gonna have a stroke. I should have been able to find that game already because I know I looked at it earlier. That's the thing. All right, so here you go. Wichita State at Boca against FAU. I love the Owls at home here tonight. Louisiana Tech's at Middle Tennessee. And I don't know how you feel about that game. I kind of like Middle Tennessee at home. Oh, there's that Asheville game. Asheville's getting 2.5, and they're looking for their 20th win. I'll bet they stumble tonight at Radford. That's what I checked off. I finally found it on my box. Louisiana Tech and Middle Tennessee. I think I'm on Middle Tennessee in that game. I am laying the 5.5. They both are 17-win teams. I like Middle 10 at home. Irvine and Northridge. I love Irvine every time when the Anteaters are playing at home. And I think Santa Clara, I'll tell you what, they haven't been that good. I like Loyola Marymount and the Sticks getting the 11.5 at Santa Clara. I think the game will be better than that.
I was looking at that too, but Scott, my trapdoor special of the night, and I don't want to go against you. I like Cal State Northridge as a dog tonight. That's going to be my trap game. I'm going to take Northridge.
Oh, the Earthquake Club. All right, there you go. The fault line.
Slow play drum beat grows louder and louder every week to the point now that they're making overt references to it on the broadcast.
So there's plenty of other guys that have to get faster. Tom definitely is more deliberate in his conversations, always has been since he's been on tour. I just think about Joe Scavern, when those two started working together, how their conversations always seem to just keep on going and going.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
At some point, these 80s are to learn, we don't need to hire ex-NBA guys. I need guys with college experience, who's gone out and recruited, who know how to develop talent. NBA guys with no college experience don't work in college basketball. I understand they run NBA-style offenses, but it doesn't mean they can run college programs.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
But if it ends up being 1 versus 2, which seems likely because the Cavs had a 5.5 game lead over Boston, the Celtics 3 games clear of the New York Knicks.
They're not unstoppable, not running away with everything, but for them to blow a 5.5 game lead on the backstretch in the NBA, already being a quality team outside of disastrous injuries, I don't buy that at this time.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Patino himself, in a clip that we just played, said basically the stats are not backing up the team's wins.
St. John's is offensive glass. That's where a lot of opportunities for St. John's came from. St. John's does not shoot the basketball well. It might even be fair to say they shoot it poorly. They were 3 of 16 from deep last night, but it doesn't seem to matter to them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.